Hey there, and welcome into Maybe I'm the Crazy One podcast. And I'm your host, Alex Chandler. Never being one to share a take with anyone I know, I figured I'd start by taking down my ideas and sharing them here. Every week, we will explore parts of the sports world, and I'll give you my viewpoints. Maybe I'm a genius, maybe I'm just crazy. Tune in with me and find out for yourself. What up, guys, and welcome in to episode 14 of Maybe I'm the Crazy One podcast. I'm your host, Alex Chandler, and it is my pleasure and honor to be here today in my studio with one of my good friends, one of my former colleagues, and, you know, I'm super pumped to have this guy talk about sports with me. Tee me up for some really important things we're going to get to today. And I'll go over the itinerary here in just a minute. I just want to give this man the absolute best introduction of all time. I really do. I enjoy this man. I've known him for almost a decade now, man.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So without further ado, this is my friend Trevor. Trevor, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be irritating you in person instead of on the internet.
Man, I can't tell you how many times you irritate me, and we'll get to some of those things here in a little bit. It's just like, man, I don't know what it is. I feel like sometimes you go out and you find these things to really come back and say like, oh, this is gonna get Alex's buttons specifically.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anytime there's Eagles news pop up, I'm gonna share this, put some snarky remark on it. Alex is going to react.
He's absolutely because you know it's going to happen. And so there's been a couple things you've posted lately, and we'll kind of start there, and we'll go over some of these things with women's sports because I know there's been a couple things that you've posted recently. One I'm kind of in agreement with the Brittany Griner stuff a little bit, but not really. But mostly the WNBA pay. And just equality in women's sports in general. We'll also talk about the Deshaun Watson situation. Today, we're recording this on a Thursday, actually. Atypical for the show. We would typically record on a Friday morning, Friday afternoon in post, but because of our schedules, we wanted to make sure that this worked out for everybody, and so we're doing it on a Thursday. So today the Deshaun Watson information came out. His suspension was extended. It was, 11 games and a $5 million fine?
Up from 6 to 11, yep.
And he's got to go through treatment. Oh, treatment.
Oh, no.
I know what treatment is when you have money. So we'll just leave it at that for now. But and then we'll finish up with week 2, like we talked about at the end of episode 13 on Tuesday.
The exciting preseason.
Right, yeah, and we'll talk about the super exciting games that don't matter in the preseason. So, but I think there's a couple games that you want to talk about. You got a couple teams that you kind of like to follow as well.
Absolutely.
So, we can break those down a little bit further in detail. But hey, let's get started with the show. I don't think people came for us to just talk. So, I guess they did actually. This is a talk show.
Yeah, just not that type of talk.
Yeah, right. Just don't talk about nothing. Get to the sports. Get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Women's sports. What's up?
Beat LeBron 1v1 and you can get paid as much as they'd get paid.
Man, why is that to be LeBron?
It doesn't have to be. It can be anyone. It could be who'd you bring up?
I brought up Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, Kuzma.
Yeah.
It could be anyone. You put him up against Trae Young. I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be the smallest guy in the league. They're still gonna mop the floor with the best NBA
Why do you feel that way though?
Because it's facts.
Is it?
It is. And when you're talking about pay, you have to talk about how much money you're bringing in.
So hold on. You think... I just want to make sure, because you're saying that because these players get paid more, they would just... they deserve to be paid more because they would mop the floor with any women's basketball player?
Along with the revenue they bring in, yes.
So Sabrina Ionescu would lose to somebody, say, like... Josh Richardson.
Sure.
Who's Josh play for?
I don't even know.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
Yeah, what about Devontae Graham? Hey, that's a guy that you like, Devontae. What about Devontae Graham? Because he makes $11.55 million this year.
Yeah.
The entire
dropping buckets on him.
The entire WNBA team or league makes made $10.83 million in 2021.
Okay.
Now,
how much did Devontae Graham make?
Huh?
How much did Graham make?
Graham made 11.5.
Okay.
11.5.
Yeah.
You think Devontae Graham could beat Sabrina Ionesco or Ella Deladonna?
Aside from the talent you got, then you got to look at the revenue, though. I mean,
Maya Moore, who hasn't even been in basketball for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Brittany Griner. No?
Yeah.
You could beat them?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know about that, man.
I don't know, man.
So, like, here's where my problem comes in, all right? And I'll talk here for a second about it, but, like, with women's sports, we do this thing where we sit there and we say, hey, they have to be able to have the same, marketability as an NBA player. But there's so much more money that has already been pumped into that. When the NBA first started, it was kind of where the WNBA is now. Except the WNBA has been around for over 20 years. And the NBA itself, really gained popularity and traction with, Kareem and Magic and Showtime Lakers in the 80s, Bird and those Celtics.
Talented
players,
exciting players,
right? And the women's sports also has talented players. Like you and I going against the worst player on a WNBA team would get our asses smoked too.
Facts,
right? And because they are still professional level athletes, and they're going against competition that is similar to theirs, just like in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And if we want to press equality for women, whether it is in the workplace or not in the workplace, wherever it may be, we have to do the same thing here.
But how do you pay someone more than the organization is worth?
That's where the problem comes in, because you're not wrong. You can't pay them more than the organization. That's where we come in as people. Like, we say we like basketball, and I'm not saying you specifically, because I know you're not as big of a basketball fan as football fan or the Royals specifically when it comes to like baseball, but stuff like that. I understand that, but at the same time, we as fans have to do better as well. Like, if we like basketball, you gotta like basketball, no matter who's playing it, and you're getting a quality when you like. If we've turned on a WNBA game right now, we would get a quality basketball game, and it's because those players are playing at a quality level. We need to put the same type of investment that the team is supposed to put in. Once we put that investment into the team will put the investment into themselves, then they'll get larger media deals, then contracts would come through. But this goes even further, because it's now created a problem with one of our superstars in the WNBA, with Brittany Griner. And so, Brittany's been over there since February, or I think it might even be earlier, and she's being held basically as a prisoner of war right now. Like, let's call it what it is. She is a prisoner of war. There's other stories out there of a girl, I think her name was Abby. She had, I think it was 18 grams of flour. And I know flour versus concentrate is different, but 0.57 grams of concentrate is not the same as 18 grams of flour. And she got a month and a $10,000 fine in prison, and then got to go home. Brittany Griner's been detained now for over 6 months and just got a 9-year sentence.
You can't mess with foreign law. I mean, I know it's unfortunate. It's just the political atmosphere.
Right. And like, I understand she broke the rules. And I'm not saying, like, because who she is, she should get preferential treatment. But she's getting deferential treatment because of where she came from. If she was not even American, say she was from Zimbabwe, or, Montenegro down in South America.
Very specific location.
I know. I'm doing that on purpose, because, like, if it was a no-name third world country or somewhere that isn't as developed as the United States, let alone an adversary the way that the United States are, she would have gotten a typical sentence, not a 9-year sentence. And so, but she's only over there because the WNBA doesn't pay her enough. And so, like, that's where that comes into play here, is that we got to do better. Like, they should be able to play and live in a living wage. Now, granted, they still make money. For what they make, the minimum wage in the NBA is, for a veteran, is over $1 million. All the teams have a payroll of 1.3 or less. The minimum is the same amount as what the entire payroll for one team is in the NBA.
Opposite hot take, maybe athletes in general get paid too much.
Oh, I mean, that's an entirely different rabbit hole we could go down.
I mean, all across the board.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the best example of that is Deshaun Watson, man. Like, Deshaun Watson just got this $230 million contract, 5 years guaranteed, all of it. And, he's
third on his plate.
He might be the weirdest dude in the NFC North since Ben Roethlisberger. Or the AFC North.
Similar in too many regards.
Too many regards, man. It's just so he came out today. I don't know if you read his statement. So
Make another apology?
No, that's the thing. He hasn't actually made an apology. I don't know if you've seen these and actually read them. He's remorseful, but he contends that he still did nothing wrong. And I want to know what you're remorseful about if you've not done something wrong. I've never been in a situation where I've been like, oh man, I'm really sorry that I did this, but I didn't do this. I've done it as a dick, but I don't do it in actuality to say oh, I'm absolved from guilt here. That doesn't work that way.
Yeah, my understanding is the courts found him not guilty, yes? Or am I incorrect on that?
Yeah, so because of what was happening in previous collective bargaining agreement where Roger Goodell made all decisions, he was jury and executioner essentially. In the new CBA, they made a new thing where it's an independent arbitrator basically, and so that's where they decided on Judge Sue Robinson. And they have to both agree on who's going to call listen to the hearing, and then there is a hearing that occurs, and then the verdict is found. Once that verdict is found, the NFL can appeal that verdict, and the appeal goes back to Roger Goodell, where he can make the decision, or in this case, he appointed somebody else to do it, which I think is the right way for that to occur. I don't think him making that decision would have been the right decision today.
That would have just caused more adversary in the league, I feel like.
Right. And so there was a bunch of misconception out there that if the NFL appealed, then Deshaun would sue the NFL and that he would be able to play week 1, and that was never going to be the case. He was always going to be out at least week 6. We were talking week 7 and beyond, and now we found out that today he's only suspended 11 games, fined $5 million, and has to go to treatment. And so there's a lot of feelings I felt about this, and I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago we discussed my personal feelings on Deshaun Watson. As I've said before, I don't want to give him too much air, but at the same time, not giving him that air then takes away the platform that his victims had.
Correct.
And so I don't want to do that either. And so I think that we have to talk about those things. I think it's very important. And so what do you think?
I mean, the courts ruled their say that he was not guilty. I think regardless of what he may have or may have not done, I appreciated seeing him as an athlete still going to practice when training camp started.
Sure.
Seeing him show up, that's at least he's trying to be a man about the situation. I mean, we have athletes holding out for $1. I mean, at least this guy is coming out to work even with all this crap on his back.
Speaking of people with crap on their back, I don't know if this is an entirely different thing. Did you see I think it was a TikTok or something on one of the socials of a guy going up to Ben Simmons in a candy shop. It was an It's Sugar. And he goes, Russell Westbrook. What up, Russell Westbrook? Russell Westbrook. And he continues to do that to him. And Ben gets confrontational with him. And I'm just like, man, for somebody who's got all these problems, you sure good right now, man. Why are you in a candy store, Ben? Yeah, I just got a question. But anyway, back to Deshaun.
Not taking care of his body, but
I mean, that's fair. He is still showing up to work, even though there's a lot
took
going
care
on.
of his body. At least he was trying to. Sorry.
Oh God.
Bad taste.
Oh man. It sounds like he did take care of it at least 24 times.
Upwards of 40 to 60.
Upwards of 40 to 60. Have you read some of these things that are in, like, what he was accused of?
I haven't dug too deep into
Oh, when you get some time, you really should, because it's some weird-ass shit, dude.
Some Robert Kraft pervery going on.
No, it's on a whole nother level. It's some shit you would have saw in, like, 2006, like, 11 p.m. HBO time. Okay? Like, not quite softcore, but, like, just about there. Okay?
Oh,
It's some weird stuff, man. He was asking girls, like, could he complete,
yeah,
like, as they just stand there, and he wanted them to just watch him himself.
Well, that's the godly way to do it, I think, and he's very religious.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. I've never been like, hey, you want to watch this? You know, usually that's done in the privacy of my own little area, but not on a massage table. But I'm also not a professional athlete that makes millions of dollars.
Regardless of any, did he do it? Did he not do it? Anyone with that kind of accusation in the volume that he has it, that penalty should not be less than a bet for your own team to win when you're not even playing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of comical, right? Because, like, there's the whole Trevor Bauer situation, too, which is also really gross. But at least that has some, like, resemblance of being consensual. It was just really fucking weird. And he got 2 years. Like, he got suspended for 2 years for choking the chick out, like, in the middle of doing the deed.
Some possibly consensual deeds.
Yeah, like, and like, she, like, there's text messages saying that she was down, and again, taking things too far makes things, like, there's intensity and frequency matter.
Yeah.
And in these in Trevor's situation, intensity mattered. In Deshaun's situation, I think frequency matters.
Absolutely.
But like I said a couple weeks ago, I would be really shocked if he was out for the full year, and obviously he's not now. And I was really shocked that the NFL did decide to appeal it, but I was
at least
it was because I was thinking about the Roger Goodell thing, like we talked about, and him having to call it himself. I'm like, I don't think he would want to do that. But then once I researched it, it came out that he appointed the Attorney General, the former Attorney General of New York, or it might have been New Jersey, but one of those northeastern states. Once he did that, I was like, okay, he's really taking this seriously. We're gonna get some kind of, I think, new verdict. They wanted a full year. Deshaun's camp wanted to keep it at 6. I guess 11 is splitting that in the middle. So we split in the middle to get to 6, and then split in the middle to get to 11. So I guess we kind of won. But
I don't know who won in that situation.
You know who didn't win? Women.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that seems to be a common trend
in this show. Apparently, and I think we're going to talk about how women rule the world at this point. Like, you know what? Do you want to talk to the Beyonce album too while we're at it?
Oh, how she's getting canceled for making fun of people with disabilities because she said she's spazzing on that ass.
Yeah, I don't know. And then on top of that, like, I don't know if you knew this, The Game came out with an album, and The Game references Beyonce getting canceled in his album for saying spaz, and he says spaz himself, and I haven't heard a single fucking thing about that.
I've heard that for years in music.
Oh, that's the thing. It is, and I understand ableism. Like, let's like, ableist society is important. Everybody deserves to have equal opportunity, but they're not calling people out. And I think that's more of a proponent of society. This is a sports podcast, though. This is not a social commentary podcast. Too much, at least. So
we'll leave that to Kyle and Jaleel over there.
Right. It was like, Kyle, Jaleel, you guys are listening. You guys need to come over, and we need to do a joint collab too. But we got to get everybody in through the podcast for sure. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, I'm disappointed. Women have lost multiple times this year throughout everything.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, and we got to treat our women better, and we got to set examples better for our young men that are coming up. And, I hope that I'm doing a pretty good job of that with my own young man. But, ultimately, like I've said in previous podcast, Deshaun Watson was somebody that I would have loved for my child to grow up to be like. Now I would want him to not even know his name.
Yep.
And I think that's really sad because of how great of a talent Deshaun Watson is on the football field. And it's really just a proponent of really just sheer ignorance and youth. And, we have all made really dumbass decisions when we were young. And Deshaun Watson, we forget Deshaun Watson's only like 27 years old.
Very young still.
And when these things were happening, he was 24, 23. He had been at Clemson his whole, he's been a kid. And so when these things did occur, not to give him any humanality here, because, what he did was still wrong and heinous. But, there is a little bit of that. He really just fucked up real bad. And we've all made that one decision that's changed our life. Where he goes from here is important.
Yep.
I was not a huge fan of the Eagles signing Michael Vick right out of, Leavenworth. And he changed my mind. He's an entirely different citizen.
He absolutely is.
And he's an incredible human now. And he made a really fucking terrible mistake. And, for what it's worth, Ben Roethlisberger made some terrible mistakes early in his career. I don't know if he became a great human, but at least he didn't do anything as terrible going forward. Right. And so it's, for that being there. Ray Rice, another situation, really terrible. Never heard anything else about it. But again, he didn't play. He was one of the guys that got blackballed for a good reason. Cap's one of those guys that got blackballed for a bad reason. Love Cap. Shout out to Cap. Should have a job.
Absolutely.
So, all that being said, 11 games, not enough. But
at all.
I honestly feel like unless they came out and said it was indefinite, not even just a year, indefinite, it was never going to be enough.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's because we do this weird thing as a society where we value women when we talk about them, but then when we make decisions, we're just like, it's not that big of a deal. So that's kind of what it feels like here, and it kind of feels like it's getting swept under the rug. Just because he wasn't a criminal when he was doing these tasks doesn't mean it wasn't wrong, and that's kind of where all of this falls into. So, with all that being said, Deshaun Watson will play this weekend in the preseason, and then play. He probably won't play next week. He probably won't play week 3, I would assume. And so the last time we'll probably see him is this weekend before he plays. Who would you say his first game was against? Was the Texans?
It is against the Texans.
Do you think the NFL did that on purpose?
12, 11, whatever. Yeah,
it'd probably be 12 or 13, depending on where their bye week is.
Yeah.
But do you think the NFL did that on purpose?
It's hard to not think that. It seems like schedules have some importance whenever they come out that seems planned.
There's definitely some of that. And there's some of those games are really important. I think they try to put some of those more marquee games in the back as well lately. For one on reference, there was the Tampa and Chiefs game where the Chiefs played everybody else in the NFC South really early, and then they played the Bucks way late. Right. It was week 13 or 15
just
or something.
So you get a better football game.
Right, just so it's more of an exciting game too. It means more has teams that may be playing for something. It makes sense. So
it's just like our first game of week 1 is Bills-Rams. That's a big ticket attraction. Those are big names that you're bringing in week 1. It's all schedules seem planned. The punishment coincidence, it is what it is. But.
So I listened to a thing with schedules one time because I'm that big of a nerd, right?
I believe it. Yeah.
And they were saying that they make over 10,000 different schedules for the NFL, and then they pare that down to I think it's 50, and then they go through and they individually move games inside of those 50, and then they say, okay, which one of these do we like the best? And so it's a straight up huge process that they go through in order to create these machinations to because obviously some of them end up not working if you move some games, right. And so it takes them out. But they're like, we want this game in this marquee time. So there is a lot of that schedule planning to it. Obviously, some parts of the schedule can't be planned that exact way. There is schedule rules. You play your division twice. You play one division from your same conference. You play one division from opponent conference, and then you're supposed to play your same level or your same standings position from the other two conferences or the other two divisions inside of your conference. And then now with the 17th game, it's the extra non-conference game against your same standing opponent from one of the other three. But that's where they get a little bit of that a little bit of the creativity, I guess is what you can call it. Because like for the Chiefs, for example, they finished first last year in the division. So this year, go Chiefs. But so this year they could have played the Bucks, the Packers, and I'm just off spitballing because I don't know exactly what games they have, right? But it's the Packers. They could have played the Rams. They could have played the Bucks, and they could have played the Cowboys. Those were the four teams that won the NFC South or the NFC divisions. And so I think they got the Rams this year, but you can double check me on that.
I'm trying to find it. Try to get through all this.
Either way, you can get the
stuff.
Yeah, you're good. You can get there in a second. But so whoever they got though, they can move that around as long as it works inside of the way that it's supposed to for them. And so there's definitely schedule decisions that are made because of in terms of placement, but they still have to follow. Like they can't give us four. Yeah, I wish they could give us 4 games of Bills versus Chiefs versus half of the other games. Like the Broncos series might as well just stop. I don't know if the Broncos will ever win another game. When I was doing my picks, I had the Broncos losing both games to the Chiefs this year. So I just and that's would be 10 and 11 wins in a row. That's insane. So
if they have any chance, this is their year to end that streak.
We don't have time to go that far. No, actually, we do. Who are the Broncos playing this week?
The Broncos have... Things are hard to find. Mm-hmm. The Bills.
The Broncos play the Bills this week. I think it's tomorrow, right? Is it Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday, okay. Sorry about that. So like that game, one, we're not going to see Russell Wilson. He's not going to fucking play. But I guarantee we're going to get at least 3 IG posts or TikTok posts about Russ going to the game or sure. Let's ride. That's right. The stupidest thing in sports. Like, I don't understand. And did you go against who? Oh, Matt Barkley. Because it's not going to be Josh Allen.
No.
Like, and I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with Russ not playing. I have a real firm belief that if you're new to a team,
you need to work with them,
or you're on a rookie contract, you have to play those games. But if you're not on a rookie contract, if you've gotten your max extension, whatever you want to call it, then you can take those. You can have those veteran days. But until then, you're not a veteran.
I think Mahomes is going to play at least the full first quarter.
Well, I think that's more of a proponent of them just sucking ass in the second half against the Bengals.
As a punishment.
Not necessarily as a punishment, but just because Tyreek left, there was big changes to their offense and getting everybody back together. You got to realize your offensive line didn't really play well together last year when they were together, and then there was some injuries.
Absolutely.
And so getting everybody on the same page, you got a lot of new receivers that need to see game time. Mm-hmm. And so that Mahomes will play, and I think I think that's the right call. And you got to balance the injury risk, right? But right now, we're sitting right here, we're watching, the who is this? The Bears and the Seahawks as they play on Thursday Night Football, on Monday Night Football, for that matter. But
that's weird.
But either way, as we watch this, who we didn't see? We didn't see Drew Lock because he has COVID, but we were supposed to. But we also were still going to see Geno. One of them we're going to start this year. Do you know if Justin Fields started this game?
I wasn't paying attention at the beginning. I know Geno was in at one point.
I did see Geno. I saw him miss a bunch of passes. Shout out to my buddy Eric, who's a Seahawks fan. I'm sorry that you're going to be sad all year. But and then
it's okay.
And then my buddy Brazen, who may or may not be listening as well, he's a Bears fan.
That's
and
rough.
He's also going to be sad all year.
He's been sad for a long time.
He's been sad for a long time. You're not wrong. But I mean, all that's being said, we're talking about these guys who are going to be playing. Justin Fields did play, by the way.
Good.
He started. He went 5 for 7 for 39 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Which with this offense is like 500 yards with the Chiefs. Because good God, their offense is terrible. But yeah, like you got these great players playing, and then you got Russell Wilson not doing anything.
Not a thing.
And that's part of why I said all the way back a month ago that Russell Wilson's in that second tier of quarterbacks. While he's a top 6 talent at the quarterback position, he's in that second tier of quarterbacks that's not going to have a chance to win a ring this year. I don't see it happening. And I've done my playoff predictions. I think they missed the playoffs.
Yeah, they're one of the teams I have on the bubble just because the AFC West is so good. I don't know if the Raiders or the Broncos will be worse.
I'm really high on the Raiders, man.
They've shown sparks, but it's just,
So
just fuck the Raiders. That's all.
I mean, yeah. And so a little bit of background about Trevor here. About when I first met Trevor, he was not a Chiefs fan.
Wasn't.
He was a Chargers fan.
I was LT, Antonio Gates, Sean Merriman, Phillip Rivers, bolt up. He was absolutely a Bolt family guy there. And then when Patrick Mahomes was drafted and the Chargers were not good. No, this is what did it. The Browns were winless playing the Chargers one season. And I said, if the Chargers lose this game, my loyalty is home. I am a Chiefs fan from here on out. And the winless Browns beat the San Diego at the time Chargers. And that was it. I'm a Chiefs fan for life.
Except unless they move to
Kansas. They move to Kansas, and fuck that. I love Arrowhead.
Are you going back to the Chargers at that point then?
Yeah, I'm a free agent. We'll see who's popping.
I mean, I don't know if there's a better team in the league than the Chargers.
I've always been a Jersey guy, and there's not a better looking team than the Chargers. So, they look good. But, Joe Burrow will be looking nice over there, too. Those Bengals.
Man, I got a really bad take here that you're going to hate. Those white jerseys and the white helmet is overrated as fuck.
Yeah, you're wrong, but that's whatever.
So, white can be crispy, but I don't think they have the right white for it to be crispy. I think that's really where the problem comes in. It ends up being not as crisp. So, but we gotta wait because we were in the Bills and Broncos game. We got to get back to that.
Yeah, we are. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's totally fine. That's the point of conversation, right? Is to go somewhere in the conversation. So we've done that. But that game probably not going to matter. I think the biggest thing that's going to come from that. Melvin Gordon came out yesterday, and it said that the coaching staff wants Javonte Williams to be the guy, and that kind of came off to me as they want him to do that, but he can't.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like I might be missing some of the quote. He might have said something more, but that was the quote that I read, and what I was pulling from that was, they want him to be the guy, but he's not taking the step.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
I think the most important thing from that game on Saturday is Jerry Jeudy and his development. I have a friend who's called him Stonehands Jeudy because he can't catch anything. But then he was also like, what do you have Drew Lock throw into him? This same friend is also the same friend that is a Broncos fan. So I don't know where his affiliations actually lie. So, in terms of if Drew Lock was good or not good. Because last year he told me that he was good and that they were going to make the playoffs. And then by week 7 he was like, yeah, fuck them. So, I think we're going to...
not good.
I think by week 7 he might be saying, yeah, fuck them to Jerry Jeudy again this year. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know if their defense is going to be as good either. I'm really high on the Raiders. I have them in the playoffs. I have them over the Chiefs in the division.
At 1 or 2?
2. Of the Chiefs at 3.
Ouch. Okay.
Now, that was before they played their first preseason game. And I was like, well, Mahomes looked really good. But was that a proponent of, no defense? Like, no real defensive scheme? Yeah. Or was it, I don't know what's going to happen? Was it new offense? And so it's gonna like for the Chiefs. It's so hard to say what they're actually going to be.
Yeah, because we're in like the beginning stages of this dynasty, and we expect the Super Bowl run every year as a city, but it's not realistic. We have to be honest about that. I mean, the moving parts, Tyreek coming, Juju coming in, the fresh blood at receivers. I mean, we still got our core being 15 and 87. But
right, and to be fair, if 87 has any kind of drop off, I think that's really the catalyst to your offense going away.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think you can survive without Tyreek. I think Sky Moore, like I've said it previously, I really dig Sky Moore, man.
I'm really feeling Juju the more he's coming into the,
what I need?
The team.
You know what I need from you for our fantasy team this year? Or not ours, but your fantasy team this year? What? Your team name needs to be Sky's the Limit with 2 Y's.
I don't even remember what it is. Oh, no, right now it's Float Like a Butterfly, Cry Like A.B. And I kind of want to leave it as that.
I like that too. I just Sky's the Limit is kind of fun too. That's a Chiefs thing. So anybody who's a Chiefs fan that's listening, you can steal that and go ahead and at the show let us know that you've stolen that. So, but yeah, it's hard, and with how deep the AFC is in general, and how hard the Chiefs' schedule is, because
in their division.
Just in their division, they have 5 hard games. Because I don't think the game at home against the Broncos is going to be a hard game. But I think every other game is going to be a dogfight.
For sure.
The Raiders games are always, no matter what their record
exciting.
Always exciting. Yeah, there's just stupid shit that happens every time. Side note: JJ Arcega-Whiteside's on the screen. That guy's a fucking waste of a roster spot. That's all I got to say about that. So, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, I hate you. You were the worst pick that the Eagles have ever had. You can go away. Thank you.
Well, he did. He's in Seattle now.
Well, that's true. We traded for a guy that they were about to cut, and we might have already cut. That's how much we didn't want him on the team. Every year I've gone on to overthecap.com, and I've cut him just to see how much it's going to cost the team. And every time on Madden, since he's been drafted, I go in and I cut him or trade him. I get rid of him immediately because he's terrible. So I'm pretty sure he might be the worst rated receiver in Madden right now. But either way, so like the AFC is so tough. They play the NFC West. That's their division that they play this year, I believe. And so that's tough. And then it's just the first place schedule that they have to play outside of the division as well. So they play the Bills and the Titans. And the Titans, while I think they're going to take a step down, I don't remember when they play the Titans, but if it's late in the season when I believe Malik Willis is going to be playing, that's a tough game for them.
It's week 9.
Week 9 is the exact week I thought Malik Willis is going to take over. So yes, they're going to lose
after
Malik
a
Willis.
bye week for the Titans, for the Chiefs.
See what I mean?
Coming fresh.
So I don't know if you listened to the show from Tuesday, because I talked about Malik Willis. And I said week 8 is the week to watch because that's where the trade deadline is. And I think that they could underperform and trade Ryan. Now that I know that they have a bye week in week 8, that's really interesting. You know, say Ryan Tannehill plays poorly week 7, they're 3-4,
Chiefs
2-5.
Bye week 8. Sorry, not Titans.
Oh, Titans don't have one. Okay,
I don't know when theirs are.
Well, then that's never mind.
Yeah.
That was just spitballing off the top of the head there, Trevor. Way to set me up for failure. But
I tried to word it right.
I don't know. What's another game that's happening? Oh, you said Jags and Steelers rematch of that divisional round 45-42 game or whatever it was, 2017. Remember that insane game?
That's the last time the Jags scored that many points, probably.
Yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. Remember who their quarterback was at that time?
I can't say I can remember a quarterback for
Blake
the
Bortles.
Jags. Okay.
It was Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Man.
Blake Bortles, Jalen Ramsey was still on that team.
Oh, okay.
Miles Jack.
All right, yeah, I forgot there's
Yannick Ngakoue was on that team.
Yeah, their brief shine there for a second.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette was still on that team. It was a really good team, man.
Before Jalen Ramsey was this.
I think it was Allen Robinson was still on that team. Like they were stacked. Now that we look back at it, like see these players 5 years later.
Yeah.
But the reason I want to talk about that game is because of George Pickens. Like did you see his catch from the Seattle game?
I can't say I've watched much preseason. I just catch the highlights.
Oh man, have you seen? You saw that Tyler Lockett catch a few years back in the corner of the end zone.
Oh yeah,
it was that esque.
love it.
It was he's to kind of paint the picture for you. They were snapping the ball. It was like 20, 25 yards out. I think it was a 26-yard touchdown, so 26 yards out, I guess. And he runs basically a cut route to the outside, to the corner of the end zone. So he's going from middle of the field to the right. And he grabs the ball as he's in that back 2-yard corner of the end zone, plants the first foot, and then drags the second foot as a defender is coming over the top of him. And he keeps lateral strength. It was an incredible catch.
Love it.
And I don't want to get too hype about it. I saw a video this morning. It was like, yeah, we're not overhyping anybody ever. You know this guy, George Pickens? Yeah, he's about to be the next Randy Moss. And I don't know if it's going to go that far, but he could have Jamar Chase-esque like production, or Justin Jefferson. At least that kind of impact on the team if they do well. And so it's a matter of if Trips can get him the ball, or Mason Rudolph, or Kenny Pickett, or which one of those assholes is going to start. But ultimately, they're going to lead the Steelers to their first losing season in 15 years.
That hurts to hear.
Yeah, that was like off a cliff
Ouch.
there. I was like all the way high, and then you're going to fucking fail.
Man, Mike Tomlin, one of the greats.
Good old Mikey Mike.
Good old Mike Tomlin.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great games this week, and obviously we'll break down the best performances on Tuesday, so everybody tune in for that show for sure. But I just, it's hard to really just look at the schedule. Like, we did this before we actually started recording and looking at the schedule, and Trevor, for the last 42 minutes, has actually looked at the schedule this whole time, trying to figure out what the hell he wants to talk about.
There's absolutely nothing exciting here.
There's nothing. I think the most exciting thing is that you were saying that the Cowboys played who?
Chargers.
Cowboys played the Chargers.
They've been scrimmaging this week. I've been seeing some clips. Zeke is popping off, and Chargers defense looking okay. They've been having
Yeah,
some
did you see
scrimmage
him
and
put in a
training.
body box last week?
Uh-uh.
Or this week?
Probably. I've seen a few clips of Zeke.
Somebody hit him, and he just, like, immediately was, like, gone. And he was like, dude, you didn't have to do that. It's like, yeah, sorry, bro. I just had to do it, though. I think it was Derwin James, maybe. But he got absolutely obliterated by somebody.
Good.
Like, Zeke is terrible.
So how many weeks are the boys going to be them boys this year?
Okay, so are we saying that from the meme where they get beat and the quarterbacks show up?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Like, when does the Cowboys season stop being, this is our year again?
Well, so for
This
Cowboys
year.
fans, it won't be till week 17 when they're eliminated from the playoffs. But, like, officially eliminated.
Okay. So you think they at least have hopes throughout the season?
So they're not a bad team. I like Dak as an individual. I think he's better than what he's been able to put on the field the last couple of years because he's been kind of lackluster even though he's had stats. I really like CeeDee Lamb's ability. I really wanted the Eagles to draft him, and instead we decided to take Jalen Reagor. So that's that. And so I like their team. I have questions on their defense. I don't like Trayvon Diggs after he's had started out so good is getting burnt by undrafted free agents.
And deleting his Twitter about it, too.
Yeah, and being a baby about it.
whole
At least
baby.
Micah Parsons out here, like, still performing at a decent level in training camp.
Yeah.
So, like, and I've been questionable about is Micah Parsons because everybody's like, he's the next great player. He's the next TJ Watt or Aaron Donald. I'm like, can he just play the fucking game first? He's played one season, had 16 sacks. He had a great rookie season. You know what? Who else had a really great rookie season? This is a cross-sport analogy, but it was Michael Carter-Williams. You know, where's he at?
Nowhere special.
Nowhere special. He's been on 7 teams since he was the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz, another great rookie season. Terrible since then.
That's why I'm hoping that coaching makes a difference, and that's where my hope with Juju's coming from.
But here's the thing. It's not like he's coming from a bad coaching
absolutely
culture at all. He's
But
coming from
coming to
probably
an
the
even
best culture.
To an even better one.
Oh,
Arguably.
don't even. with all due respect to the Chiefs culture and Andy Reid, I love Andy. The Chiefs culture is here. The Chiefs culture is the minimum standard in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the class of the NFL.
You really think that? Over New England, over...
Oh, absolutely over New England because New
Dallas,
England cheats.
maybe.
Dallas hasn't won a playoff. Well, it hasn't been to the NFC Championship game in your lifetime.
But it's the culture.
What's that culture? Losing? They haven't been a game away from being a game away, man.
I didn't ever say they were good. I'm just saying.
What's like? Okay, then the Bengals have a great culture. Like
how? Okay. How is Pittsburgh over New England? Because when I think of like fucking scary to work for, coming nose to the grindstone, day in day out, front to end, I think Bill Belichick in New England.
Is that a culture you want to be a part of?
No,
Trevor.
No,
That's my
absolutely
point.
not.
That's why it's not as better culture, because you get the same production level. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Not something Bill Belichick can say. Like, and so it's one of those things where I believe like the Rooney Rule was created and named after Art Rooney, who is the first owner of the Pitt Steelers. So inclusion across the board for them is a part of that. They've always been able to find a receiver, whether it was Hines Ward, Plaxico, Santonio Holmes, Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant. Remember that motherfucker? Remember Martavius Bryant?
I don't remember that one.
He was good. He got into like drug problems, and so they cut him. But he was a really great player. Then he went to go play for the Raiders and literally never played again after that. So he went to the black hole and didn't come out. If you can guess, you can say that. So I just now they have Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and now George Pickens. So like their receivers always great. Running backs. Tell me the last bad running back that the Steelers had.
Always been decent at least.
Right, like there was the stopgap year where they were supposed to have Le'Veon, and they didn't have Levy.
Right.
But they even performed okay then, and then they got James Conner, and then James Conner performed
really well. Yeah.
Right, and
Najee's all right.
Najee's excellent. I am so high on Najee. I might take Najee as my first pick if he's available. Like, for insider information here for you, Trevor. So, but I love Najee. He got me. He had the most touches last year.
They did use the shit out of him.
They abused it because they couldn't trust Ben to do anything with the ball, so they used Najee. If you look at their quarterback play, it's been consistent, whether it's been Big Ben or Big Ben. So, this is the first year we'll see some of that. And then their defense, outside of like a 2-year gap as well, has always been excellent. So, there's a reason that they don't have to rebuild. It's only reloading. And it's very similar to like an Alabama. It's all about the culture. And it starts from the top down. And, the pieces have changed throughout, but the Rooney family has maintained their integrity the whole time. So I'm a huge, huge Steelers fan when it comes to the way that they run things. I will never root for the Steelers, but I will root for George Pickens and Chase Claypool because Chase Claypool was supposed to be my number one receiver last year. So
it's a fun little tidbit of information from staring at the screen for so long.
Sure.
The Falcons at Jets on Monday.
Yep.
Tickets as low as $2.
Are you kidding me?
So if you're in the area,
$2. You hear that, Jets fans? $2 tickets. Is it in Atlanta or is it in
New York?
New York. It's $2 in New York.
MetLife,
Guys, you can't even get a hot dog on the street outside the stadium for $2.
That's a date night right there.
Oh, absolutely. Boys. All of my cheap thrifters, go watch.
$5 for the Eagles at Browns.
Oh, be careful, guys. I don't know if Cleveland can afford $5. They've paid Deshaun Watson all this money.
Well, this will be your last chance to go yell your hateful things at Deshaun for a while.
Man,
so.
you realize he went like 1 for 1 for 7 for 6 yards.
Did you see the videos from the crowds from before the game?
Oh, I did.
Yelling at him, saying you suck,
it's excellent.
Fuck you, blah, 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 all that stuff. So, yeah, he got it.
Yeah. So, hey, Trevor, we'll go ahead and wrap up all the sports stuff, but I did want to go ahead and give you a chance to talk about something that's really important to you. And so you can go ahead and have the floor, man. What do you want to talk about?
I don't do anything that special in my life, but someone special to me in my life does. My wife is a digital and traditional artist. She does custom pieces. She's done this beautiful Mahomes print that I have displayed in the largest print I could find in my living room. Custom pieces can do whatever you want. Business needs, personal needs. Need a wall painted with a mural in your game room or whatever, she's got you. You can find her on Facebook at Ashley Artistry and on all other socials at the same. So that's just really want to plug my girl.
Okay.
She keeps me going.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I can personally attest to Ashley's work. She's done a few ornaments for us during the Christmas time. She does ornaments. I don't know if she's still doing that, but they've my wife actually keeps them at work with her because we recently lost one of our dogs that she did an ornament for. And so it's really special to her to have that, and she sees it every day at her desk. And so it's just something really special, and it's a moment that we get to sit here and say, like, Ashley did that.
Yep.
And, and so we'll when we post this as well, we'll put a linker onto
link in bio
onto the page, and so also we'll tag some of her actual artwork. Awesome. That way you guys can see some of the artwork without actually having to go to the page. But definitely go talk to Ashley. We're working with Ashley as well and getting our graphics updated because I love Ashley's work. I just honestly I got to be able to pay for it first. It's so I just got to make some money from the podcast to pay for the work, but it's excellent work, guys. Definitely go check out Ashley's stuff. What was it again? Ashley's Artistry?
Ashley Artistry on Facebook. She also did just launch her website with a digital shop available at ashleyartistry.com.
Awesome.
Her Ashley is spelled ASHLEE because she's pretty.
Because she's what?
She's pretty.
She's pretty. Oh, okay. I see you. So, like you said, she does prints. Does she do custom prints as well?
Custom, anything you want. She really likes to do the digital on the iPad with the Apple Pencil and everything like that. But
does she have a certain style she likes to do more than others, or?
It's realistic painting. I mean, she's an amazing artist. Everything looks like the reference photo or whatever you give her, it's going to look like that. Different mediums, canvas with oil paints or pen and paper just as a black and white sketch to full color digital art. Whatever you want, man, she can do it. She's amazing.
Awesome. Well, guys, that is our time this week. Make sure to go check out Ashley's Artistry. One more time.
Ashley Artistry.
Ashley Artistry, sorry, but I'm saying it as possessive because it is her artistry.
It is her art.
What's her website one more time?
AshleyArtistry.com. That's ASHLEEART. Artistry.com.
Artistry. So, yeah, AshleyArtistry.com. We will link it to the site as well. We'll keep it up there all weekend for you guys, even potentially a little bit longer because we love Ashley and all of her work. And then, yeah, guys, that's the show this week. I hope we have a great weekend of football. Trevor, thanks for stopping by and having a good time with us. I hope you did have a good time.
Absolutely, always.
Awesome. Make sure, as we always talk to you guys about, to like, subscribe, share, comment, post, all the fun stuff that we ask to do on the socials. We're trying to grow. We are officially over the 15 gap, so we're working towards the 20. And I think we got 6 more shows to get there. And so we're well on our way, but we definitely need some more support and more love. We do appreciate all the love that you've given us so far. Trevor, you've been a big part of that, so thank you as well. Guys, this is our show. Thank you so much for stopping by. You got to go and let us know. Am I a genius? Or am I just crazy?